and welcome to this episode of Round Robin. I'm your host, Robin McCormick, in Communications and Marketing for the City of Hampton, and today we're going to talk about a special one-day house repair blitz. And I have with me Julia Lawson from Habitat for Humanity and Jonathan McBride from the Community Development Department. And Julia, this is a little different project for Habitat, or at least it is from my impression. I'm used to Habitat building from the ground up homes for people, but you're adding a new dimension to what you do.
We are. There is a large umbrella program called the Neighborhood Revitalization Initiative. And yes, our new homes do fall under that category, but we're also expanding our capabilities to repairs to help extend the ability of homeowners to successfully live in their homes that they own for a longer period of time.
And that's a great idea, but in some ways it's probably a little harder to pull off. I mean, when you build one house, you've got this very focused direction. You've got the application program where the citizen helps out in a previous house and earns their way up. So how is this blitz going to work?
Well, the blitz is a little different from what our program, our Habitat program, A Brush with Kindness, usually does. Usually we go out to people as the need comes along. With this new initiative, the Blitz initiative, we will target certain areas so that we can take care of a whole block or a whole neighborhood at one time. And it actually, it helps us focus in and really tailor the specific needs to the community.
And have you done this before in the Peninsula area?
Yes, I have done one before in the Ironbound Square area of James City. Well, it should technically be Williamsburg. Back in September, on September 9th, and during that program we worked on around 15 houses and did somewhere between 45 and 50 individual projects on those houses and cleaned up a community park at the same time.
Wow, that's a lot.
Yeah,
so Hampton has one scheduled, and we're going to be the second program in this area.
Yes.
And how did Hampton get involved, and what is the city's role in this, Jonathan?
We've had an interest in doing leveraging a group of volunteers for years to do kind of that concentrated effort in a community. We feel that when you can get it just generates a lot of good community support and community ownership when you get some work done in one block, one area. So we have done a project back in East Aberdeen back in September as well. So we've kind of had a little bit of experience trying that out, similar to the same time that Julie was doing theirs in Ironbound. So I think kind of coming together to use both of our resources and experiences to focus on one area, I think it's going to be a great project.
So what is the area that this particular effort is going to focus on?
Our first area is the Old North Hampton neighborhood, from Rip Rap Road to Armstead up to King Street and Murphy Boulevard, so that kind of boundary area around White Thomas Community Center is probably the most recognizable place over there.
Right. And how are you finding out who needs help in that area?
Well, we're reaching out through the neighborhoods. Our office works a lot with the neighborhood groups out there and some of the other stakeholder groups, so we're going to be working with them to identify residents and neighbors that they know of that need assistance. It's purely exterior assistance, so projects outside of the home that they really need some help with, just cleaning up and taking care of that they may not be able to take care of.
And what are some examples of what projects, what kind of things you would help with during this one-day effort?
Typical projects include power washing, painting, light exterior repairs. Say if someone has a porch that has rotten wood and it has become a safety issue to them, we'll replace that, and really anything outside that is going to help the total appearance of the neighborhood, with the exception of roofs and windows for this particular day.
Right, because you really can't do those in one day. In fact, you couldn't do a full exterior scraping and painting in one day, can you?
Well, we've actually already got our first project identified in the neighborhood, and it is a whole house paint. And we will do a prep day within a week before the project, because you do need to clean the exterior of the home before you apply the paint. But with the right number of volunteers, we can knock that project out in a number of hours.
That's pretty amazing. So you would be able to help maybe up to 24 people, depending on 24 homeowners, depending on what the projects are and how many volunteers you get.
Yeah.
So speaking of volunteers, this is the point at which you get to do a pitch and ask people out there to help.
Okay, I will start with that since that is really my main contribution to the project. The first thing I need, first and foremost, are volunteer team leaders. These people will be basically a site manager for a particular property. We've got one identified. Like I said, we've already identified that painting project. I've got a team leader identified who's already taken the reins and started this process for that homeowner. So those will be our first line of defense. Then, of course, we need the volunteers to work under those people, and those can be volunteers who don't necessarily have any experience but would love to come out and just give their time. We love groups and we love individuals. So you can, the volunteers can come in on that basis, whether they want to come in just themselves, or whether they want to bring a couple friends or their coworkers or a civic group, anything. We'll take anybody.
And this blitz is happening when? I don't think we've said the date.
May the 18th.
And that is a Friday.
It's a Friday.
So what that means is, what you're hoping is that it will be treated by some maybe employers or work groups as a kind of similar to the United Way's Day of Caring, where everybody sort of pitches in and gives their time, maybe a little bit sponsored by their employer. Or certainly there's a lot of young retirees out there who have skills and time and might be willing to pitch in.
A lot of people don't realize that their employers actually do have built-in service days, and they can utilize those. And you get to go out in the community and do something out of the ordinary, and it really, I mean, it's an extraordinary opportunity. And it doesn't hurt to ask your employer, because I'm sure they would not have a problem letting you do it.
And certainly the military has
course.
service days and service projects that they adopt. Are you working with military at all?
All the time. We get groups from all branches of the military. Sometimes there are even groups that are mixed military, but they are excellent. They come out, they're really assertive, and they take the reins on the project, and they're very helpful.
Now, suppose I don't have a whole lot of skills. What would you be able to do with somebody like me?
I think we'd put a paintbrush in your hand.
Yeah.
Actually, I am pretty good at that.
Something.
We would
And yard cleanup. I'm very good at yard cleanup.
Exactly. Literally any level of skill. And of course we would love to have volunteers who do have specific skills.
You need a certain number of people who can. If you're talking about porches and safety issues, who can do construction according to code and know truly what they're doing.
Sure. Because we do want to do accurate repairs, and we always aim to do everything to the highest quality.
Mm-hmm. So you are probably knocking on doors and working with that neighborhood. But if anybody knows of someone in that neighborhood who needs some assistance with the exterior of their home, or really anywhere throughout the city, this program might not help them, but there are a lot of programs that do. And so for that, you want them to call, Jonathan?
There are 311, so 727-8311. And we have an ongoing housing repair program. And what we'll do is if they're in the Old North Hampton neighborhood, we'll plug them right into the Blitz Day. So Julie will be able to follow up with them and work with them on what the project may be. But that's 727-8311 is our one call for everything.
That's great. And now, is that where volunteers should call, or would you rather direct them to the Habitat?
Volunteers can call into that hotline as well. They should indicate that they are interested in volunteering, though. And also, if they have a specific skill, go ahead and tell that 311 operator what that specific skill is. And the more information we get up front, the smoother the whole transaction will go. So
really, for team leaders, you're looking for people either with experience in construction or just experience leading a group and willing to take on a little bit bigger role.
Yes. And through that role, we're asking that the team leader will work with us from the very beginning to even help us estimate what needs to be done on that home.
And how long it will take.
Exactly, manpower and hour time. And they will even give us a materials list, an estimate, then we'll plug that in and we will work back and forth, and we will supply them the necessary volunteers to work underneath of them. But they should be comfortable with outreach to a homeowner, being able to communicate back and forth with a homeowner, and also with their volunteers that are going to be helping them.
Now, who's going to pay? I know that a lot of this is the manual labor, which the volunteers will donate, but you need cans of paint, and you need lumber, and you need gas for the weed trimmers and things like that. How do we fund this?
Most of it's going to be paid for through the homeowner. So the homeowner pays for the materials, and then we look for donations or assistance through other resources to try and leverage for those that can't pay at all. So that's where we're trying to meet all our needs.
And we also have the ability to set up zero interest payment plans for those materials. We understand that most homeowners can't afford $200 worth of paint or even $100 worth of paint, whatever it may be. We will partner with that person to identify expendable income per month and then base a payment plan on that.
That is a really, really great resource, because not only then is the labor free, but they can stretch out the payments.
Right.
Okay, so once again, if you're interested in either volunteering or you know someone who needs help or you need help with the exterior of your house, particularly in the Old North Hampton area, but also anywhere else throughout the city, we may have a program that can help you. From your Hampton landline, you dial 311, or from a cell phone, or if you're calling on behalf of someone and you're outside the city, it's 727-8311. I want to thank both of you for coming by today. Thank you, Julia and Jonathan. And I look forward to hearing how this goes and seeing some photos of the event if we're making it by myself. I guess we'll see. And thank you for watching this episode of Round Robin. Please come back again.